Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're right back with you. Speak your mind, and we're here waiting for anyone who take up this challenge that we have about talking about a white paper with the United Kingdom government. While we were talking before the break, though, I wanted to just emphasize the fact that we don't capitalize on our British status. We have a golden opportunity now to think about that for ourselves, and also to think about a relationship with the UK and forge a better relationship than what we have. I like the idea of talking to the independent departments in the UK, as well as speaking to the government, but also to get into the departments. We have made some good moves lately in that area. We're talking to a particular area that deals with sports, but there's so much more that we can do. We can talk about agriculture, we can talk about tourism, we can talk to the communication, we could talk to a number of the individual departments, and that was part of the last white paper, not this one that we're working on right now. We missed that opportunity then. Now is a chance to get further into that area of going in and getting help from the individual departments of government in the UK. I guess what I'm referring to is a department-to-department relationship set up through the two governments. And that is quite possible, I'm pretty sure. And we're really missing the opportunity to capitalize on our British status. Example, all government buildings here in the Virgin Islands should fly two flags. As long as the government buildings and the house government activities, I think you should see two flag posts outside of that thing, and let people know that yes, this is the government, this is the seat of government in the country. The schools, all the schools should have two flags. And the students in the schools would realize that this is their school, this is their flag, and we can start a whole dialogue of bringing people in line with our present status. I'm not talking about any future status as yet, just the present status. We always talk about moving to that 2020 status, but for right now we need to look at how we can utilize our British status as it is right now. And I think it's an opportunity, and we have some more information about the press conference. Sam,
yeah, so Courtney, so the press conference, again, folks, if I missed it before, is at 12:15. It's from 12:15 to 12:45. So you can stream on jtvlive.net. Start streaming from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. You should not miss it. Courtney again elaborate on the importance of us, being in front and capitalizing on a UK status. I gotta tell you, Courtney, I remember in 2003 when I first got that UK passport. We'll go to the phone. Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Yeah. Good evening. You've speak your mind. Go right ahead, please.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
I have two concerns. One is that the government have more than 100 prisoners at Balsamga.
You're correct. There's more than 100.
Why is it that they don't take them and send them to clean the cups? They're feeding them 3 squares a day just to sit and enjoy life. And they have to find extra money to clean the guts, and they're doing nothing. It's a shame.
First of all, if those sentences that we have, if they're hard labor? I don't think so.
Well, it should be.
But it's not.
Well, something needs to be done about it, because I know when I was a young lad growing up, I had to go in the street with a hopic and a shovel and clean the road, because I couldn't afford $120 to pay for my tax.
Okay.
And the other concern I have is when the government make a law, or you execute the law that they have, say they have a noise law, and stop these motorbikes all hours of the night all hours of the night running through the communities where they have old people, 90-odd years, 100 years, 80-odd years, can't rest all up to 3, 4 o'clock in the mornings, up and down, just running for style, backward and forward, rearing up their motorbikes with all these noise. Why is it that the government is treating us in this condition? They say they're interested in the citizens and the sick and shut in and all these noisy motorbikes just running on the road for no reason. It's a disgrace to the country and the citizens of this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your input. Sam, I have to say that I too feel bad about the condition of this person that's calling and making this statement, because these are people who built this country to be what it is today, and I think that they deserve much better than they're given. I think he deserves much more respect, and noise is something that should be. It should be curbed. I don't think someone who has spent all the good years building this country should now have to be in a situation where there's laws in place to prevent what he's talking about, and we're doing absolutely nothing about it. And I think it probably needs a whole community effort to deal with that. He's calling on the police, but I think it's a whole community effort. We have to stand for something. And some people seem like we have another call. Yeah, good evening. You have speak your mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening. We're doing pretty good. What about yourself?
Okay, Samo, you is one of my school colleagues. What are you doing, man?
I'm living good. Tell me who this is.
Who this is? Pickering, man.
Pickering, what's going on?
Very cool.
What's on your mind?
I'm just calling on behalf of the last caller just called.
Yes.
About concern about the prisoners in Balsamgut.
Yes.
I guess you make a good statement there, because I guess this is one of why these young people keep making trouble and getting in prison, because they're going up there and they have nothing to do and they're living a happy life. And if the government will put some of them out there to help clean the road, as man say, or clean the gut, give them that hard labor, that when they sit down and think about what they have to do, they will keep themselves out of prison. I don't believe that's enough that they could be up there sitting down doing nothing and just getting a free meal every day.
Well, first of all, right, I'll tell you firsthand knowledge that place was designed for about 60 inmates.
Okay.
So it's overcrowded, 1. 2, not everybody that's up there has been sentenced.
Okay.
There are a number of people up there who have not even had a trial. Okay? And third, we have a situation where in 2012, as we are in here now, there are a number of things that are being used in the judiciary. They have the ankle bracelet. We have GPS tracking. We have all kind of devices that can be used to. We even have a situation where some persons are given work on the garbage truck because they're a high-profile model or something like that, and it would embarrass them. But we are not seeing any of these things being used in our community. We're just saying send them to Balsamgut, as if it's a place like Siberia, if you know how the Russians used to treat their fellow citizens back in the day. When you did something wrong, they used to send you to Siberia, because Siberia is so far and so cold that just going there was a punishment.
Okay.
So maybe we need to take a closer look at what we're doing. And be a bit more proactive rather than just and again, I made a point on the last show too. Our judiciary system, which part of it has a youth program to try to prevent young people from being involved in criminal activity?
Right.
There's none. We don't have to look far. We could look in St. Thomas. They have a program where they teach young people things, and they could only get in the program if they sign up and they improve their bad behavior.
Yeah.
So we can do things like that as well.
Okay.
Because all I want to say. all I want to say is that I remember in the States, I think it was in either Arizona or Texas or one of those places, one of the sheriff in those areas wanted to have a chain gang. And the human rights, and there's another organization in the United States that jump up and say, oh, you can't do this, you can't treat people inhumane, you can't do this, you can't do that. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there right now who feel the same way you feel. And we're talking about, when we're referring to people who are already convicted, who are now serving time in prison, and they should have some kind of hard time. So I think there's a lot of people are saying, hey, why not? But trust me, the minute we try to do things like that here, somebody, some human rights organization, whether here or in the BVI or somewhere else, gonna come in and say, you can't do that. But these are the same people who want to advocate that where a child is born is where he's from, he should deserve to have all the rights and status of anyone who was born and raised in this country. They won't advocate for that. They won't go to the United Nations and say, England, your Nationality Act should be unconstitutional. It's bias. It's prejudice against children born in a territory. They won't do that.
Yeah.
What they'll do is they'll come and protect the rights of a prisoner who's probably serving life, and say to us that we can't put them to work in the streets and clean the streets and do the things that we need, so we don't have to pay people to do that. That should be the part of their punishment. So I agree with you. I mean, trust me, I guarantee there's something lurking right now, you know, and to talk about, you know, what's happening in the community.
Yeah.
The person who called just now, everybody sympathized with that gentleman, and he didn't say where he was from, and I know why. He probably don't want to mention where he's from because people might, you know, figure out who he is. So maybe somebody else can call on his behalf and say the neighborhoods that are being affected. And we know we got problems. These children, no matter how much you talk to them, they challenging you. You know, we got no laws in this country that's for the protection of women and children. I can read it. I haven't read it yet, but I suspect that a lot of these children out here are doing things because they know the parents' hands are tied. A lot of people blame parents, and I ain't blaming no parents that's working hard to try to do their best for their children. A lot of these kids are doing things because they know they can get away with it. The law can't touch them half the time. The parents can't discipline them, because if you touch them, you getting locked up. I mean, just look at St. Thomas paper this week. They got two kids, an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old, was arrested because the parents decide they ain't gonna touch them because they call the cops, and the cops had to come and arrest them for vandalizing a school. A 6-year-old in the States just last week or week before was arrested because the school now decide, I ain't touching nobody's child, because you ain't gonna come and say that I abuse your child even though your child is out of order. They called the cops came and arrested a 6-year-old. And you know what all the human rights organizations are saying? Oh, it's just a child. She's just a child. Why you have to arrest a child? Touch them and see what happened.
But making trouble with your child.
Making trouble and don't live up to the responsibility. And we continue to say we're not cheering them in this country do wrong, especially young ladies that are encouraging bad behavior. We should always blame the young man. Blame the young man, you know. I say blame the young man. Do what you gotta do. But put some responsibility on a young girl too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, mark my words.
Right.
So thanks for the call, caller. It's right on
Okay,
point.
man, no problem. All right. Good.
Well, it's time. I think we're getting some dialogue in this room tonight, and we're touching on some good topics. We're we're here. We're always trying to press the envelope. Okay, there's a text that came in. Evening, gentlemen. There is no more hard labor. The Queen abolished hard labor.
See, the same thing
Peace.
we were just talking about. Same thing we were just talking about. No hard labor.
Same thing we just talking about. If you can't do it, you can't break the law.
Thanks for that information.
Yeah.
They used to do hard labor.
Here in the BVI before, I recall when I was in BVI high school, we got a call. Good evening, you've Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Good night, guys. How you doing?
Good night.
Not bad. Thanks for calling.
I'm doing fine.
The conference you're talking about that's going on Monday, is that strictly dealing with tourism?
No.
No.
It's dealing with the relationship between the UK and the Virgin Islands.
Where I believe that tourism is important, and it will, and you know, paying attention to it will allow us to boost our economy and what not. What I feel that is going on in Tatola too, that has to stop. In terms of the same tongue and country planning and all this kind of stuff, we have a lot of cases going on where local people can't use their land because they either put in frivolous liens on land, just putting people in a hard position to be hiring lawyers, spending off all their money to be defending their own land. And they have too much of that case going on here in the BVI. Land here in the BVI, you will agree that Tatola people are very humble for them land. But we need the government to step in and take care of with tongue and country planning to be more proactive in helping people to release their land to the owners. When it's just frivolous cases that just making you spending money, this money can be put into something else rather than having to be defending yourself and defending your rights and defending your land. And I think the UK needs to step in and help us with a lot of these land issues. And that is what it is I would like to contribute tonight. Because we need help from the UK to help us with a lot of land issues that is going on in the BVI, rather than having to be hiring lawyers, spending money where you don't have, and at the end of the day, you cannot contribute financially to your economy because as a result of what you're going through.
Okay, I hear you loud and clear. Land issues are a particular type of issue, and sometimes it can be very complicated, and I understand your concern about using lawyers, but at the same time, I must advise you that using an attorney in a number of cases is probably the best way to deal with that type of situation, because it can run a long time, one, and it can be very expensive, two. So you mightn't want to take that kind of risk.
Repeat that what you're saying about the risk?
I said those type of issues that you're talking about, land issues, can last a long time, one, and can be very costly. So I don't think you might want to take a risk of doing something like that without having good legal advice. Now, the legal advice can come in a number of ways, because you have litigation.
Doing something like what? Asking the UK to jump in and take care of all land issues.
Well,
when we cannot get the kind of support and that we need, that's when they need to jump in and take care of it.
Are you talking about family land?
It don't have to be family land alone.
Give me an example of what kind of assistance you would be looking for. Give me an example, specific example, without calling names.
Okay. Let's just say you have a piece of land, and the neighbor now either want it, jealous of you having it, and you would start to try to do something, and when you look, a lien on the land for no reason, just to hold up your process. And this can go on for years.
Okay.
And I feel that tongue and country planning can be more proactive in cases like these, where people are trying to really tie your hands. And if you look around here, you'll find a lot of people hands tied because they can't use the land as they want to use it. And we can get a lot more help than we are getting. And then if you have somebody who is in government, who holds a position, you feel like you don't want to touch that person because of the position that they hold in government. So they know the system and they know how to drag along the system. Meanwhile, you're just out in the cold.
But
Really and truly, Catalonia got a lot of land issues that needs to be sorted out. And if we could ask for some help from the UK to come in and sort them out, in areas that just can come and help us out.
Yeah, but Carla, if I understand you right? In that scenario, that situation you talked about, first of all, somebody have a lien on your land. It means that you're in a legal dispute over something, and that's the only way for them to try to collect or hold on to something of value until the debt is settled. So I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, I think we have competent people in our judicial system. We got competent judges, we got prosecutors, we got all kinds of people who first have to relate to that information, deal with the situation, because I remember just the other day sitting in a room with three people and hear somebody complain about similar situation. But that has to be done here. We don't need the UK to deal with that. I mean, if somebody's jealous of you and try to hold on, take your land, first of all, they can't just take your land, it's yours. But if you're having a problem with that person for whatever, and they feel the only way they can get payment is to try to have some kind of judgment or lien placed on your land, they only could be done if a judge decides that's exactly what needs to be done, you're at fault, and it's in the court. So you have to go through the court for that.
Yeah. But Carla, let me ask you.
I understand what you're saying, but I wish I could be a little bit more specific. But that is all I am going to contribute for tonight. But I understand what you're saying, but that's not the case. But I guess I'm gonna just have to leave it there.
All right.
No, but before you go though, let me just say, Queen Victoria had given the people of Anegada the lands in Anegada. That same UK government that you're speaking about, you don't think they could have come here years ago and settled the issue in Anegada? Not one piece of land in Anegada was settled in that way. And we're going on. This is 2012. We're going on. In a couple months going to be 2013. You know, so asking for some people to come here who refuse to, they left us here as about sanctuary at one point, you know, and to ask them to come here to help us, a country that's been financially independent for more than 25 years, for what?
Not in that sense. We need other help, but not in that sense. That's something we could deal with our own.
All right, I respect your opinion. Okay.
Okay. And I respect yours. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, Sam, as usual, we get to this point in the show where we're being asked to take a break for the sponsors who make this show possible. So we're going to take a break and we're going to be right back.